Good morning. What's going on, chat? How are you? What's up? Hope everybody's doing really well. Today's episodes that I'm filming are going to be kind of interesting because, well, one of them is going to be fine. The AI one's going to be very interesting. So I've just been sitting here gathering oh God, like 100 different originals versus AI. Good morning. Good morning. And we're going to definitely dive into this conversation about AI in video games. You know, it's the kind of thing where I feel it's important to see where the technology is. Because frankly, I don't actually know. You know, and have a real conversation about it, because I think that there are some inroads that can be done for education, for discussing, oh, my hair, Jesus. Hey, Luna. Discussing AI in video games, music, whether or not it's even a good thing, if AI music is a good thing. So we're going to kind of get into it. And, I'm intrigued to see where we land. And you and I may disagree. Hey, Hydro. So it's kind of a painful video to make, but I think it's an important one to talk about. And especially right now, I feel like AI has really just ballooned. I feel like every fucking platform is using AI. Like, I don't need AI for my emails, but okay. So I want to get into it a little bit and listen and compare and contrast with originals and AI, remakes of those, whether or not the AI actually improves things or doesn't. And frankly, I mean, it's hard. I have a lot of preconceived notions about AI as a concept. So especially when it comes to music. So I'm coming into this with a pretty open mind, but also recognizing that I don't think anything will ever replace real people doing real things. Whether it's in a DAW, a digital audio station, a workstation, or live, obviously live, especially live instrumentation. I just, it's hard for me to fathom. AI as a tool, I think is pretty okay for the most part, besides the inherent fact that it's a danger to the environment, and now technology has sort of doubled down on it, whatever. But, yeah, I'm just, I feel like we should make a video about it and talk about it. And, yeah. How you guys doing? You guys doing all right? Good morning. Good afternoon. We probably won't be live for too long. Probably a couple hours. Not like a 6-hour event here. Yeah, I mean, it's not Skynet levels. That's for sure. That's for sure. I'm sure you're very tired. I've been very tired, but for different reasons. So I can't relate to your tiredness, Zeddy. I mean, can you really call something artificial intelligence if it's being prompted? You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, it's going to be a very interesting conversation. What are you excited about? Hey, Curly. Marketing, yeah. Hey, Eloy, I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. I'm tired. So tomorrow I have off though. So, and then Saturday we're playing some Wuthering Waves on the channel. But I'm all right. What are you excited about? Yeah, we should be able to clear everything Patreon wise here, even with the day off. All right, well, I guess we should get into it. I don't necessarily want to, but I find that it's an important conversation to have. Essentially, I'm just going to be diving in. We're not going to listen to so it's interesting. A lot of these videos have the original version, which is about 50 seconds, and then the new version, which is 3 minutes. And I'm just not gonna I'm not going to listen to AI for 3 minutes, but I'll be doing some skipping around. So if it's okay with you, we'll get started so that we have time to do my second filming. Yeah. AI is seemingly everywhere these days, whether it's in your email, on ChatGPT, or any other, basically everywhere. I mean, it's obscene how much AI has perforated the world, at least in the year 2025, and I don't expect that to be slowing down anytime soon. That being said, it's also proliferated video game music, at least YouTube, where there are many versions of the original songs created by real people and then taking and modifying them or improving on them with AI. And the question I have to ask myself is that actually A, an improvement, and B, what is the actual technology when it comes to music? Because frankly, I don't actually know. Now, absolutely, I have a bit of a negative bias after being a performer for 10 plus years, a decade plus of performance. I really, it's going to be hard for me, especially having grown up with video game music, to really lock into the idea that AI can somehow be better than real people. But I'm willing to at least listen to these tracks and see where we can land, because I genuinely don't know what to expect here. So, let's get started. Can you be claimed by AI for listening to AI music? God, I don't fucking know. But that would be just the most rich. That would be absurd. That would be so fucking stupid. Well, anyway. So obviously one of the most beloved themes ever written is the Super Mario Bros. Overworld theme. One has to ask themselves how it can possibly be continued by AI or improved. But I guess we'll take a listen and see for ourselves. I guess hear for ourselves. This is the original. Oh, I should probably actually. And also the question is, can you even tell the difference? I'll let you know which one is the original and which one is the AI after this. Well, obviously this one's the AI, and it's like the real question is why? I don't really see. The technology is there. So this is interesting to me because the technology is clearly there to continue a piece of music that is written by Koji Kondo. Like, so obviously, like we have the capacity to do that, but I don't really know what the purpose. I mean. Is it for fun? Like, are we really, why do we want to replace, human? Like, why? Like, it's not to say that sounds bad. It really doesn't, but I don't really understand the purpose of it. I don't understand why we need to artificial intelligence everything. Like, what is the reasoning behind taking a real person, essentially collecting the musical sound print of something and then turning it around and repurposing it and expanding on it? I suppose to like see what it could sound like with like if it was expanded on and didn't just loop. Okay, I could sort of see that, but at the same time, like I don't really feel like that doesn't improve on what's already there. It's just there with some enhancement. And actually, the AI, it tends to just, in this case, it's Suno AI. It tends to sound actually like kind of disjointed, and it feels ever so slightly out of the realm of like what the original sound composition was. It isn't bad, and it does kind of pain me to say it because I don't think it sounds bad. But you can automatically tell when there's a shift, at least at this stage in the game. And I'm concerned because in 4 months, 5 months, 1 month, it could easily not be able to be differentiated. And is that a problem? Like, is this an issue? To me, like, I do try to approach everything from a sort of neutral perspective. Like I do have strong opinions about things, but I like to at least be open-minded when I encounter them. And this is my first time really encountering AI music, and especially in the context of video games. Now, I love video game music and have for literally like 30 years, as long as I can remember. The reason why I even got started in music was because of video game music. So one of the interesting things for me is that this sound, this you know, the sound font of the SNES, NES, I suppose these are easily replicable by technology because they were created by technology. So I mean, like, on the one hand, it's not that far-fetched to think that this could be borrowed and enhanced or used by AI, right? Because ultimately, like, it's just an advancement in technology and video games as a technological, you know, whatever. But I don't really see how going from this is the original. So what it shifts the cadence, it shifts the resolution and extends it, but like, yeah, okay. So what it's able to do is pick up the melodic structure of the notes that are being presented, and use it and morph around it. But do we need this? Does this phrase really enhance this? Not especially. I mean, I don't know. Again, I want to keep an open mind because, I mean, shit, maybe there's something I don't know about this. But, like, for me, I don't know. As a tool for someone, but even this, like, is this music education? Like, I mean, is someone, and I'm not even trying to be like hoity-toity or obstinate about it. Like, does someone inputting a piece of music saying, "Hey, I want you to do this, and this," actually count as composing? Because to me, that's not the definition of composing. That's not the definition of, like, creating music. Now, I could see you saying, "Hey, Chat GPT or whatever, like, you know, what is 5 flats?" You also just Google that. But Google now uses AI anyway, so like let's not be curmudgeon-y about it. But it's like, okay, please give me the most important things to know when starting to learn the piano or to start to understand music theory. Okay, it gives you a, you know, sure. Yes, that's environmentally incredibly I think someone told me, I read somewhere, and someone told me that every time you do a single prompt, it's like 1 bottle of water, which is insane, the amount of water that's required to heat the stuff or to keep the stuff like cool. But anyway, I can sort of get behind that. Like, that's an active desire to learn. But when we're just inputting a sound font and then sort of just turning it around and prompting it out, I don't know. Okay, well, so we've heard the Super Mario Bros. Overworld theme, but continued by AI. What happens if we do Mega Man 2's title theme, but it's continued by AI? I'll let you decide which one's the original and which one's the AI. Shit, man. I mean, I don't know. Hey, Hal, yeah, we're filming. It's not even to say that I dislike that. In fact, it kind of sounds good. I mean, it sounds kind of fire. I mean, obviously, it doesn't sound like Mega Man 2. It completely pulls away from the from the original sound. Especially when you add, I mean, the difference between this. I mean, awesome, right? But then listen to the shift. I mean, like, yeah, so it takes the melody and then kind of goes off on its own. I mean, again, I actually, realistically, yeah, how you can, go ahead. Realistically, I don't hate that. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, that's fun. But on the flip side, it's like, again, I think the reason why I even want to like film this video is just the conversation about like why, like, what is the point? I mean, I guess for expression, I don't know. Like, I also think it's important for us to listen to these and like sort of take a look at them and be like, okay,
done. D.
It's 16 months. Thanks, buddy. I think the real thing is that we honestly can't tell the difference. You know, I really don't think that I don't know. I mean, can you tell the difference? I certainly can't. And I don't know if I should be worried about that. I don't know. But I feel like it's important for us to at least have the conversation around it. Okay, what's another example? Now we're staying in the 8-bit, 16-bit time period. But let's do Street Fighter 2 like Guile's theme just for the sake of it. First of all, what a banger. I mean, like, what a banger piece. I haven't really sat down to appreciate how good Guile's theme is. Isn't this Yoko Shimomura, too? right, here's the switch. God, man, it gets the melody down like right away. Like, yeah, so what ends up happening here is interesting because it ends up meandering. This is not the first time. Basically, every single like sort of when the AI takes over, there's a meandering that that kind of occurs that is interesting. I mean, it does. I think it loses a little bit of the identity. Part of that's because of the way that the loop sort of maintains. But I definitely think that it just sort of like goes. It's like, bro, reel it in, bro. Like, we don't, this is like, it's funny. It's it's like trading off like a solo. It becomes like and I think that's part of the problem too, is that like we do get some melodic identity, but for the most part, it's just like random notes that fit within a chord structure. But like, the question that I have to ask myself is like, how does it even, I mean, I know that there are computer metrics and stuff, and like, how does it even know? And this video is not like an educated, like, let's sit down and really look at how AI creates music. Like, that's not what it is. But this is just like, is this viable? And it's weird because, like, unfortunately, yes, I think it is viable. It's viable for remixes. It'd be. I don't know. I'm really torn up about this because on the one hand, I'm definitely curmudgeon-y when it comes to like, well, we shouldn't be replacing musicians and composers for this. Like, this should not be the norm, right? And we really should not do that. Just like fundamentally and morally and artistically, I think it's a huge mistake to even consider. Does it sound good? Yeah, it's fine. But it just kind of it just waffles around. Okay, fine. So I'm not really like, I don't have like we've all been doing 8-bit, 16-bit stuff here. So like, what happens with like Dearly Beloved from Kingdom Hearts? Now this I'm really intrigued by, because the orchestra stuff is tricky. I want to hear what this is going to sound like. Here's the AI. So it retains the melodic idea. The motif stays. No. No, that's no. That's it just decided to go in a totally different. No, that's not. It's Silent Hill 2 now. No. Oh boy. No. Okay, so it's obviously able to retain chord structure and melodic identity. But it never, it just meanders. It doesn't lock in. Yeah, it was like oh, it was like Silent Hill 2 meets Kingdom Hearts. That's actually kind of funny. Again, I mean, realistically, like it really doesn't sound bad. It just ends up being like a very hyper generic sound, and also too, like at this part, it just didn't obviously it doesn't coalesce with the original. Now the thing is that like if you didn't know it was AI, could you tell the difference? You know. And furthermore, like if you didn't know that the original is the original, you know, if you heard this on the radio, would you even think twice about it? And again, that opens up the discussion. Should you? I mean, is this something that we should care about? Should this be a topic of conversation? You know, I don't know. I have to say, like it's a very interesting thing. No, how this is from YouTube. These are just like YouTube. This is just like AI in video game music, like continuing AI. You know what I mean? I'm not prompting it. I don't want to use it, to be honest with you, so I'm not going to. Okay, well, like, what do we do when it's like heavy metal, like Doom Eternal? All right, so how does the AI take something like the only thing they fear is you, and expand on it? No. Okay, so it retains the becomes like okay. Again, more of the riffs. That's so interesting. The riffs. So this is interesting. It actually retains like structure of small. I don't think I've heard like a complete like phrase more than like maybe 4 to 8 notes. It seems like it's pretty, like it goes off on its own. It will retain a melodic idea, but it won't retain a full, like a full phrase. This is interesting. Unless it, and plus like, I don't know. Okay, it's trying there. That's so so it's taking the section. Yeah, okay, I know what section it's trying to emulate here. But do you notice that that's happened every single track where it kind of just deviates and goes off on its own there for like, it feels like 30 seconds. Yeah. Blues guitarist doing a cover of Doom. Yeah, the only thing they fear is you. Yeah, I could see that. But I don't know. I mean, again, I actually really, you know, I came to this with really like, man, fuck AI, fuck everything about it. Especially when it comes to music. But like, realistically, I've not hated any of the AI transitions. I think they're excessive. I think they're kind of unwarranted. I don't feel like we need them. I also don't think that they really enhance anything. In fact, they most of the time they actually detract from the original sort of compositional style. That said, I intrinsically I don't believe that this technology should exist for music. Again, I've already stated my statement on my feeling on AI. I think as a tool, it's fine. But in truth, I really don't believe that AI should be composing or creating music. And the fact that if we were not aware of it, we wouldn't be able to tell the difference is a little disturbing to me. I don't feel very comfortable. And maybe I'm the old man yelling at the kids on the lawn who are just like fucking around with Sumo AI. But like, for me, it's just like, I just don't get it. I don't see the point. Like composing and creating music is a soulful experience. It's a human experience. It's something that we intrinsically do. And you may say that's frou-frou silly, but like that's actually like the reason why people make music, make art. Like using AI deviates, like completely shifts away the reason to create. I mean, like, why are we creating at all then? If it's just to like mass produce it and speed it by and get it done as quick as possible. I mean, like, you know, when you practice, I have a piano over here. When we practice piano, the point is to practice and to get good at it and to like learn a skill. Now, yeah, sure, you can create a skill set around, you know, my limited information of AI, like prompting and guiding the AI. But I mean, like, it just seems like the wrong. It just feels wrong to me. I don't know. I know some people will disagree. How about the Super Smash Bros. Brawl main theme? Now, this is interesting to me because it's one of my favorites, and also there's a lot of singing in it, so I'm curious. No. So that's interesting. So it loses a lot of its like the pomp of Super Smash Bros. Brawl in this particular case. So it's interesting coming from the perspective of an opera singer. The AI when it shifts, it becomes a much more fluid, languid piece, much more like. I hesitate to even put emotion to it, but the first one is very like, here we go, we're going into action, and there's a little bit of like vocals to sort of drive home the emphasis that this is a heroic moment with a heroic ensemble. Whereas when the AI kicks in, the actual like tonal energy of the piece shifts, so it's not able to hold on to the emotional chargedness of the actual Smash Bros. Brawl main theme. the mother of PP is what I heard. Also, that's the other thing too, is that the original's in Latin. And so, I mean, again, like it just, yeah, it does have a bit of a national anthem vibe to it. It really loses the integrity of the piece. No, see, that just doesn't work. And the wonder of the mountain, and the wonder of the mountain. No, that doesn't work. I mean, that just doesn't work. I mean, well, that's comforting that it doesn't really. I mean, it does. I will say, it does vibrato pretty well. Like, I want to just point out that this is interesting. Like, it does like a choir pretty well. I wouldn't even say it does vibrato well. It does a choir well. From the mountain of the mountain to the valley of... I mean, but again, listen to how different the energy is. So it takes this part. But even that... But can't you tell the difference? Anima mam bihidi bedu. Obviously, I don't know the words, but you know, da da di 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 ba da di da di ba di, to go to like this. No. Yeah, so okay, well that's strange. Well, okay, well what happens with like something like another like sort of big band kind of thing, the Team Fortress 2 theme? Let's see. This one I'm curious about. This is the original. So this is big brass, very brass focused. I want to hear how this shifts. So it goes from... That's interesting. So it thought it interpreted the upper register of the trumpets and the trombones at the beginning of that piece. It actually sounds like it could be well, again, it's not anything, but it sounds like it could be sax, but it actually ends up being electric guitar solo. It's fascinating. Like that's the upper register of a saxophone, but this is odd. Hold on. So it goes like this, Team Fortress 2. Oh yeah, no, then it morphs into electric guitar. But see, like, doesn't it bother you that, like, you could watch a human being absolutely shred on a guitar and, like, do something that is essentially, like, so impossibly difficult? Like, that is, like, impossible. That is so hard unless you've practiced and studied and trained. Like, I think, like, that's the thing. You go see your favorite band in a concert, you're like, holy fuck, like, this is incredible, right? So then, like, the disparity of that to, like, this, which is clearly made by a computer, being like, oh, man, this sounds great. I don't even know I don't even know if the computer even has the capacity to even think about like that, whether or not it sounds great or not. Like that to me is where it kind of like, okay, sure, it goes hard, I guess, but it doesn't it doesn't carry with it the weight of like the inability for the average person to create it. You know what I mean? Like the average person cannot do that. Not that, because that was made by AI, but the actual like riff on the guitar there. Whereas if you were to go to a concert and witness the spectacle of someone like a human being who is so honed in on their craft, being able to create that, I mean, there's just no comparison to me. Like that's what's missing. The zhuzh of humanity there is, I mean, it's not to say that it sounds bad. It really doesn't. And in fact, I would say that overall, I mean, that some of them, obviously this doesn't really fit because it deviates from it takes the sound of the big band brass ensemble and morphs it into an electric guitar with like random saxophones. It's not even to say that it sounds bad, because it really doesn't. It actually sounds quite good, but I don't think that it doesn't offer anything of value when it comes to enhancing the piece, and also it just I think it robs the identity of what an actual person who does it sounds like. But so I am intrigued by there were several others that I was really intrigued by. Okay, how about the Dragon Roost Island? Since I recently filmed the Zelda video, so I just listened to this. How about Dragon Roost Island theme, but it's continued by AI? See, I genuinely like that, and that is problematic to me, because it's a great. I mean, it's a great thought process there, where it's like, if I didn't know that I don't know Dragon Roost, I've only heard it 2 times, right? So like, I actually don't know if there's a guitar solo in it or not. And so like, for me, a person who has no like emotional ties to Zelda's music, if I heard this and you didn't tell me that this was AI, I'd be like, man, that composer went off, right? I actually quite enjoyed that. And I I'm torn about that, because it's like, well, is that a good thing? Should I enjoy it? Is that some, what the fuck was that? Sorry. I guess, and this opens up another conversation where it's like, well, if I don't know it's AI and I have an emotional feeling towards the music, is that bad? And I think ultimately the conversation really becomes a shit ton of variables. Is it bad that I like that? Is it bad that if I don't know the song, I can't tell the difference? Is there a difference between working on a digital audio workstation like a DAW, or like a Final Cut, or not Final Cut, shoot. What's it called? Shit. Ableton. I'll just use Ableton. Is something that's being produced on Ableton in a digital way which we hear a lot of music from video games now. It's almost all done on a digital audio workstation, a DAW. Is that somehow also like veering towards this world? Is the only legitimate music the one that's done by an orchestra? I mean, if you even think about it, then some people really feel that the golden age of music for video games was in the late 80s, early 90s, and that's all one particular type of sound from a computer, right? But someone's in there doing it. So like the question again, I mean, this video ended up, it's just a bunch of variables and comparing and contrasting music, but the question has to be like, if I have an emotional response to it, is that a bad thing? Even if it's created by a computer, like not by a composer, but by an actual like computer. I don't have an answer to that. But like I vibed with that, but that's also a sound that I really enjoy. Now, if you didn't tell me it was AI, I would probably buy into it. That's how far the technology's gone. And so for your average person, maybe they don't give a shit if it's composed by a real person or not. Maybe that's not a topic of discussion for them. It's like, oh, cool. That sounds awesome. And that's as far as the conversation goes for your average like music person who just enjoys listening to whatever. Like, you type in, let me hear a hardcore workout set so that I can get in my pump in. Okay. You get some heavy metal, you get some electric guitar. That's fine. So where do we stand as a group of people, as a community, as people who enjoy music from video games? Like, is that something we concern ourselves with, or do we just say, well, as long as I feel something, then it's valid? But it's about equal exchange. Composers create music for us to feel. AI is not creating music or expanding on a theme in order for us to feel. So the equal exchange there, that gets lost in the process, and that I feel like that might be a pretty problematic thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe people don't care. I don't know. Yeah, and there is, of course, a difference between remixing a track and expanding on it and creating from nothing an original work. But the equivalent exchange there, not to reference Full Metal Alchemist, I think that's a really important part of that becomes a fissure. That's a crack in the process, because composers create work for us to feel. We then in turn feel those things and reciprocate it. When I was singing opera, I was interpreting the work of the composer with the intention of getting the audience to feel, and then you could actually feel the energy given back to you as a person on the stage presenting to the audience. If some of that gets cut off, where do you land? You know what I mean? Let me hear a Gerudo Valley from Ocarina of Time, but it's continued by AI. Now, I love this piece. Not dissimilarly to Dragon Roost, or at least the AI version of it. I feel like this is going to be pretty easy because it's a pretty small melodic. It just goes off. It just goes off. It retains the ostinato in the left hand. So it does veer towards mariachi a little bit, doesn't it? Especially with the trumpet solo. See, I think it's important to circle back to the main motivic idea. I mean, listen to the way that Gerudo Valley, like as the actual composition works. You have your like introduction, and then this is the like anchor point, right? Ba-da-ba-dum, ba-da-ba-dum, ba-da-ba-dum. Actually, hold on, that was the bad example. I can't chat because I'm playing ZZC. The AI models have a memory which they continue to use and generate new memory, which can be used by the next segment of music being generated. That's why it feels cohesive while not losing its sense. But then it's never able to circle. Oh, sorry, my thing just got weird. But then it can't circle back though, which is really interesting. Yeah, you're right. I think if you just tell it something to just continue, it's just going to continue until it just pitters out. It won't circle back to a point. Oh, really? That sounds really interesting. All right, I want to do like two more because this is starting to bother me a little bit. Let's okay. Here's one. I wanted to check out one of my favorite songs is the Metal Gear Solid Encounter music. You know the one. And this kind of repeats itself. This is the original, and now this is all the original. Yeah, so it gets the like underneath like tension, but it obviously it loses the sort of the thing that makes that piece tense, the sharp rhythms, those very small melodic phrases, and it ends up kind of just deviating and going on its own and kind of a big circle, right? Because it's trying to fill the gaps, and obviously it loses the tension there. And yeah, of course, you know, good music will challenge you harmonically and melodically and surprise you. But this ends up just truly feeling like a big loop. You know, I wanted to also just check out, just for the sake of just sheer curiosity, the Elden Ring main theme. Shit. Hold on. We gotta restart that. Restart that because I absolutely Donna Burke just like screamed through it. Hold on one second. Let's restart. That's a bad that was not the AI, that was me. So it's interesting. It gets its wires totally crossed here. It gets the essence, but it doesn't land on the melodic idea there either. I mean, it's all very interesting, you know, and I've come away with this with a couple interesting feelings for myself. I mean, for one, I think, you know, if I didn't know the difference, would it upset me? Is it kind of one of those things that you get upset after the fact? And to the answer to the question is, I honestly don't know. It's a real pickle. Some of these, obviously, if it was an original piece, and I've actually fallen into this trap where I was listening to Japanese shamisen, and I was like, man, this shamisen's going off. And then I discovered it was AI, and then I decided, oh, I shouldn't listen to this. So the question is, well, why shouldn't I listen to it? Is it that offensive? Now, as my stance as an artist and as a person who's, you know, performed for a quarter of my life, I mean, yeah, I think it's a problem. I don't want to encourage or support that kind of music because frankly, like, it even shifts the definition of what music even is. It doesn't it? At the same time, I don't want to be a total Luddite and bury my head in the sand and not think about the fact that this is happening, and we need to sort of at least be able to tell the difference. And I think it's different than AR art, but even AI art has become a bit of an issue. I really. It's a problem. I think it can be used for good. I don't hate AI. I don't hate ChatGPT. I don't despise it. And that may be different than what your perspective is on that, and that's okay. But like, for me, it I don't know, man. Like, it was very interesting to sit down and listen to this stuff and just sort of assess where we are with this technology. And I think it's important to be aware of. I think it's important to at least, like, yeah, we can kind of joke about it, but at the same time, like, this is reality, and it will affect, and it does affect composers and artists right now. You know, I'm not going to bury my head in the sand and just like ignore it, but I also, you know, it's a double-edged sword here. There's a lot. This is a very complex subject, and I at least wanted to sit down and listen to some of this and kind of assess it and see where we're at. So yeah, thanks a ton, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. I'm really not opposed to AI. I've oh, there were some other ones that were in here that this what was some other ones that were kind of interesting. The Aku's main theme. That's right. Listen to this. No, I'm not actually leaving, by the way. No, sorry. I was ending the video. I wasn't ending the stream. I was ending the video. No, feel free to stay. So I've never heard this before, right? Okay, like... Sorry, yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the solos, but I mean, honestly, I don't hate it, and that kind of disturbs me. I would like to actually just check out, just for the sake of it, what AI symphony music sounds like. Oh, God. Oh, this is the video I'm filming. Fuck. All right, well, there you go. Well, at least it'll do well. Hilarious AI orchestra chaos. Oh, I've seen this. Epic cinematic orchestra AI. No copyright. Can you hear the difference between AI and Beethoven?
In this video, I will always give you two different classical music pieces. History is dead.
I think this is the AI. No, Redcar. No, I had to shift it.
I think this one was quite hard to tell. There were a few signs that indicated that the first one was AI, and it was indeed. The second one was from Rameau.
Jesus Christ! Fuck.
Planted.
This is, I mean, you can hear the breathing. This is most certainly not AI. This is AI.
One of the main points that artificial intelligence is not able yet to recreate is a live sound of an orchestra. So I think you could definitely hear that the first one was actually Mozart. Although I do not like the piece, the Paris Symphony, second movement, I think it's quite horrible and super annoying. I still think you could hear that it was a real orchestra and a real human composing it, rather than the second one being AI, although not totally bad. Like, I think it was pretty close to what a real classical composer at certain points in their symphonies would have written.
Right. Sounds like a real clarinet. No, this is AI. Yeah, this is real. I think the first one is hard because harpsichord is sort of a sound that I can't believe how much I miss it. But it's a sound that doesn't.
There were a few hints. You could hear the clarinet breathing. You could hear that it did sound more like actual wood, and the balance in the orchestra was better, in my opinion. So the second one was Tchaikovsky, Symphony Number 5, the beginning, and the first one was AI.
Yeah. This is real. This is real. Yeah, this is AI. Oh, fuck. No, is it? Oh, fuck. I think so. This is...
So, did you get it?
Oh no,
I
the
think
second
it's
one is
pretty
real.
hard to say.
Fuck.
Although the first one did seem
The second
more
one's real.
realistic,
Oh.
more real, more
The breath.
specific.
I heard
think
the breath.
second one was a bit more vague. You didn't know exactly where the melody was going, what it wanted to say. And indeed, the first one was Brahms Requiem.
Oh,
and
Christ.
The second one was AI.
Okay, well, my initial instinct was, wow, they even got the breath down? Hold on, this is going to bother me because this is, my whole fucking career before YouTube. Hold on one second. My instinct with the second one at first was because everything is so precise. The fucked up thing is that humans can also be precise, like this. Like this style of music is fully realistic to hear in a orchestra or in a symphony hall. So the fact that it caught me off guard, it genuinely I've sung pieces like this. Whereas the first one, this is interesting actually. The first one, yeah, so the first one has a little bit more body to it, but of course it's a different style because this is Brahms versus the other one being probably more like a well, I can't actually think of a composer like a Haydn or something. Or actually no, I'm sorry, way before then. That would be like a think like Monteverdi, but there were no real anyway. Oh, the breathing should have caught me. You know why? Because we don't do that in choral singing. In choral singing, we stagger breathe. Man, fuck, man. In choral singing, you would never want to hear a breath. In choral singing, you would want stagger breath. You wouldn't want to hear. Oh man, they fucked me up.
So, did you get it? I think it was pretty hard to say.
Okay, film music. Wait, hi, you're so hot at China. What does that mean? Thank you. I am hot at China. I am the sun in China, just radiating down on China. I think so. The strings are really full. Yeah, I know. Thank you. I genuinely can't tell the difference.
I think these two were so close. I think the only hint you would have had is that in the first recording, you could not very much differentiate which instrument was playing. Like, it sounded a bit like a cello and a horn combined with each other. I think that's the only thing that gave me the hint, okay, the first one is AI, which it was. The second one was from the movie The Tale of Despereaux. The music was from William Ross.
Wait a second. I see his point. That's so subtle though, because underneath you have a really strong, like actual motivic movement there. But then it's interesting because, yeah, I see. So you can pick it out because you have the counter harmony there. You have the harmony. Sorry, not the counter harmony. The counter harmony. You have the harmony leading in with the woodwinds. Yeah, okay. That's cool. Interesting. Well, thank you. Yeah, my Black Myth Wukong. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that playthrough so much.
The only hint I can give you is
think
that the second one did not
one.
sound as perfect. So the first one, like the intonation was ludicrous. It was just 100%. There was no hair scratching on the strings of the violin, which probably was purposeful in the second one of Maxim Wengeroff's Isaïe. I don't even
First
know
one
how
was
to pronounce
AI.
his name. I think it's Isaïe Sonata number 3. So the first one was AI.
Jesus Christ. I think this is AI. I think the second one's AI.
With Impressionism, it gets more and more difficult because the music is mashed up
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
So what do you think? In my opinion, the second one did also sound very much like Ravel, but the first one was a bit more clear, a bit more like a real piano, and it had a little bit more structure. So yes, it was pretty difficult to detect. The first one was Une barque sur l'océan from Ravel.
Fucking shit. We'll skip film music. I'm gonna go to opera really quick.
Not actually tell.
Well, that's Beniamino Gigli, so this is real. Oh man. La povera piccina condannata. That's Beniamino Gigli. No, this is Mimi. That's like a bastardized Pavarotti. It's gibberish. Man, this is so fucked up though, because that's just taking Pavarotti and just like Pavarotti and just modifying it ever so slightly. Even the way that he sings the high note here is very, very good. It'd be like if Pavarotti didn't know the words, so he was just making them up. It's hilarious.
These two, they just sounded so similar in my opinion. The second one was AI. Also here, I'm not sure if this was AI or if someone actually uploaded an opera with Pavarotti himself, because it did sound like Pavarotti. The first piece was La Bohème from Puccini. I think it was actually Pavarotti who sang that part.
It wasn't. It was Beniamino Gigli. Thank you. Oh no, that's UC Bierling. I'm crazy. That's UC Bierling. Sorry, yeah, that's UC Bierling, famous Swedish tenor. Funny enough, it's funny that I couldn't tell because UC Bierling was obsessed with sounding like Beniamino Gigli, who was an operatic Italian tenor. And so, funny enough, this is really interesting to me because he essentially he pushed himself so hard to sound like Gigli that he actually ends up sounding a little bit like Gigli. Yeah. All right, pop music should be pretty straightforward.
I'm pretty sure we almost broke up last night. I threw my phone across the room at you.
Well, that sucks either way.
Carolina, 5'5", bright blue hair and big brown eyes.
This is real.
Sleep beneath the neon signs of some old 2th Street town tonight.
Is
We
it?
don't need to talk things through, or you can cry the whole way too. Whatever feels alright to you. 'Cause you got
Uncanny Valley,
baggage,
pop
I
singer,
got
yeah, just
room.
Taylor Swift into Gen AI.
So which one do you think is the real one? I prefer the second piece. Sadly enough, the second piece was artificial intelligence.
What the fuck? Oh my god.
First one was Taylor Swift.
That's bad.
What can we say? Some pieces were impossible to detect as artificial intelligence. Clearly, AI is very good at replicating music that has already been written before by real composers. Maybe in 10 years it will be so good that we won't be able to hear the difference between an actual music piece from Bach and an AI copy. Will it be able to write new original music? Nobody knows. If you enjoyed this video, you will enjoy this one as well, so click right here.
I like this guy. Oh my god, was this my first? This was my first like reaction video for someone else's content. Wow. Uh-oh. My reactor content era has begun. But it's really incredible, actually, and terrifying. And I'm so thankful for Carl Friedrich Welker for putting this together, because honestly, like, it serves all of us as a stark reminder that, like, you know, should we know the differences between AI and not AI? You know what I mean? I mean, even. I mean, it's just really difficult. It's really difficult. It's scary. I mean, I think it's important for us to know the differences. Even if you decide, like, hey, you know what, I don't mind AI music, that you're completely entitled to that opinion. I wouldn't even say, well, you can't have that opinion. Okay. But, you know, we should be aware of what we're listening to. Oh yeah, I react to quizzes all the time. You're right. You're right. Thank you. I do think it's a losing war. I think so too. It's problematic. It's scary. Also, what's up there, Twitch? That I know a bunch of you came in. Nice to see you all. And of course, YouTube. You've been here. So I don't know. I think in 10 years, even less. I think in 5 years, it's going to be a real problem. Moralistically, what is wrong with AI music? Well, so earlier I was mentioning the idea of equivalent exchange. A composer writes emotionally with the intent of communicating and expressing themselves, right? That then transfers over to the listener, and we also have a emotional and connected feeling towards the music, right? And it allows us to respond to, you know, our own thing. It can help us process, and the human to human connection helps. I think for me, the thing that disturbs me about it is that, not to say it's bad, like sounding, because it really, realistically, after listening to so many examples, it really doesn't sound bad. It may sound out of place. The data may not be there enough, whatever. But the thing that's scary about it is that then it becomes artificial. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's a fair exchange. And at what point do we lose completely the human connection? We already sort of lose it in a setting even like this one, where, you know, I'm talking to you, we don't know each other, and you're engaging with me over a computer or a phone, right? That's already an artificial. Now, it may be a connection, but this is why the idea of parasocial relationships pop up, because it's a one-sided relationship, even though I appreciate, obviously, like there's a one-sided dimension to that, right? So it's like, we've already got it in some ways, and digitally, I don't remember the stats, but I'm pretty sure that, like, people are at the loneliest they've ever been right now, if I recall. Or I don't remember where I got that stat from, but I remember reading somewhere, like, right now the digital age is where, like, depression's high and all, et cetera, right? So on top of, like, borrowing from other people and essentially, like, sort of stealing, and I don't even know that that's a sort of, again, some of this is beyond me, so bear with me as I sort of just say things. I'm trying to say them in an educated manner, but I may not land. I think the real problem is just that, like, you just lose the connection. You know what I mean? Songs tend to be about, like, songs that even in the pop world or whatever, they tend to be about situations that a lot of people can relate to. And so a singer is usually not singing about themselves, because that's a singular experience. Whereas when singing songs about a breakup or about whatever, feeling good or whatever, that's an outward thing, so that anyone can attach themselves to that emotion. If we lose that sort of like person to person connection about like lived shared experience, I think that we end up losing the humanity of it all, personally. A study came out recently that confirmed that using Gen AI and such atrophies human cognition. Really? I also think that it just causes us as a society to just be dumber, in general. Like, thinking about what to Google and searching and deciphering, can help, I think, like, to continue like education. If something is just posited to you directly without much effort, what have you really gained? How do you retain that information? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Is depression really more common, though, or are we only more aware of it? I don't know. That I don't know. But needless to say, I mean, there are many people that don't care. And I mean, should those people care? I don't know. You know, we can't all fight the same battle. You know, oh, wow, that's interesting. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, you can only choose so many battles to fight every day. Some people are just fighting to survive. They don't give a flying shit if AI is using music. You know what I mean? Like, this is such a privileged conversation to be having. But I think it's an important one to have regardless. And the people that do care will have that conversation and for others, you know what I mean? Like, not everybody can care about this. You know what I mean? And for some people, it's just a tool. But the problem is that then they're also just like, you know, we just have to make sure that then there's an intelligent conversation happening where, you know, we're not being cajoled into believing something that's factually incorrect. You know what I mean? The usage of it can be very dangerous, I think, if in the wrong hands, which I guarantee you it will be in the wrong hands. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a fact. Anyway, I find that really interesting. Yeah. Hopefully you found that video fun, or at the very least, like, concerning / educational / fun as well, ideally. Edutainment, as it were. You know, yeah, it kind of definitely leaves me a little bit like, oof. So I had a lot on here, but it was starting to get a little bit grating after a while. All right. So now, what time is it? The wheels of history will not stop. We can only try to embrace it. I mean, basically. All right. So we're going to check out. Let me take a look at something. Disregard my Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 mod downloader. Okay. May you make a joke? It depends. You're in mixed company, so, like, yes. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is now, with mods, is easily one of my games of the year. Lazy meatball. Hey, now, I only have so much time in the day. I need autosave. I need autosave. I need to save wherever I am. Music is my life, and I must with my whole might prevent AI to enter into my life. It's difficult, but I will fight with the nonsense regardless. By all means. Making some save potions helps with leveling alchemy. Not if you speed up. Never mind. All right. So now next on the agenda here is actually kind of similar to my opera singer reacts to the highest rated video game music of all time. And in this particular instance, we're going to be listening to every Game of the Year soundtrack. But I need to find what those are. So I'm not prepared yet. Game of the Year list. Oh, come off it. That's a simple... There are simple things. Listen, I'm an old gamer. I'm a geriatric gamer. I'm a geriatric gamer. I need my unlimited save file. You youngins. Holy fuck. Okay, so this is quite the list. And the problem is that... No, not the full soundtrack. Oh my god. I do have a Weeb channel, yeah, but it's sort of on a hiatus right now because I've been so focused on the main channel right now. All right, looks like here we go. Man, these are so different. I think the intention here is the Game Awards. Opera Singer reacts to every Game of the Year soundtrack. I played every Game of the Year ever. Are they still worth it? What list do I use? Probably... Which one is the most interesting? The Spike Video Game Awards. That's the one I should go off of. There you go. 2003, Madden NFL 2004. Oh. Hello. Let's see. Let's use oh, and then every game publication has their own list as well. Let's explore, well, no, we're not going to explore publications. Let's take a look at, we'll go up to the awards. Okay. Well, the BAFTA started in 98. Okay. And then Czech started in 2010. I'll skip that one. Oh, probably the DICE Awards. Well, same. Looks like all these events kind of started in the late 90s. So... that's what this is. The only problem with the Game Awards is that really, could you imagine if we did Famitsu? It'd be like Dragon Quest, Dragon Quest 2, Dragon Quest 3, Final Fantasy 2, Dragon Quest 4, Final Fantasy 4, Monster Hunter, Resident Evil 4, Kingdom Hearts 2, Final Fantasy 13, 11, 12. No, we'll go to the Game Awards. The Game Awards started in 2014. Well, no, sorry. Jeff was the producer of the Spike Game Awards. The Golden Joystick goes all the way back to 83. That could be pretty interesting to do. All the way back. The second oldest game award ceremony and is the longest running. Every Game of the Year soundtrack. I listen to every Game of the Year soundtrack. Yeah. Okay, fuck it. Let's do this one. Oh no, this is game of the year. Sorry. I listened to yeah. But yeah, we don't have to be so thorough. I think I'll do dice. That seems realistic. Yeah, this is a good list. I'm trying to look at what I'll get copyright claimed for. Wow, Overwatch was one of the DICE Award winners? What did BAFTA? They did. Wow, Deus Ex. I saw an article yesterday that said that they were bringing back loot boxes to Overwatch. Insane. Your English is very good. No worries at all. No worries at all. Okay, yeah, let's do BAFTA. Yeah, actually, yeah. Yeah, let's do BAFTA. Oh shit, I'm gonna get copyright claimed for God of War though. Oh god, what a pain in the ass. Yeah, no, never mind. I'm gonna do dice. Let's do dice. Okay. What time is it? 11:30. I have an hour and a half. More than enough time. I gotta practice piano. Actually, can you give me 1 second? I listened. No, I played.
Just to see if they still hold up since I just played every Game of the Year award winner ever, just to see if they still hold up since the first one was awarded all the way back in 2014.
Oh, Game of the Year. So he used the Game Awards. I see.
The Game Awards, the time of the year where we get to celebrate video games. But more importantly, however, we get to decide what was the game to represent the whole year in its entirety. The Game Awards has been going on for a lot longer than you think. Starting in 2003 as
Spike TV's Video Game Awards, hosted by Samuel L. Jackson.
before Jeff Keighley completely took it over in 2014 and titled it just the Game Award. That means this marks 20 years of the Game Awards, so I thought it would be a good idea to go on my stream and play all of the previous winners to see if they all stood up today. Also, to clarify, some games I've not played, and so some of what I'm saying is first impressions. And so that means we have to start all the way back at 2003 with Madden!
Oh, that's cool. So he went all the way back to the Spike Awards, and this guy just did 2014's. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Let's go all the way back to the DICE Awards, which means no Patreon tomorrow because of no Patreon stream because of the. We have to cancel that. I'm sorry. There's some miscommunication on my end. I need to write out a little tiny script, chat, if you don't mind. Like, look, Copilot. I don't fucking need Copilot. Like, I just want to fucking... Bop, bop, bop. Okay. Good night. The DICE Awards have been giving out Game of the Year awards since 1998 with GoldenEye 007. No, that's not how we started that. Music is timeless. That's hilarious. Hold on. It said, that's really funny. No, it's not. We started that. Music is timeless, but award ceremonies have not always been timeless. I wanted to decide. No, my God, this is so hard to do. Hold on. This is the brain. The brain doesn't work right now. The brain doesn't work. Video game music and music in general is absolutely timeless, but I was curious if the music from Game Awards winners of the year oh my God, my brain. Sometimes it's not. Dictating doesn't always work. I decided to sit down and listen to the DICE Game of the Year award-winning video game. I decided to sit down and listen to the DICE Game of the Year award-winning video game soundtracks. To see how the music of these best games in a given year I decided to sit down and listen to the DICE Game of the Year award-winning video game soundtracks to see how the music of these best games in a given year has held up. Of course, music is timeless. Of course, video games ebb and flow with time and graphical updates, changes, and industry and technological technological growth. Of course, video games ebb and flow with time and graphical changes and technological growth. But music is always great and has been great since music first popped into video games. So how does the music hold up for these award-winning video games? Let's find out. All right, that's good. I'll take that. Use AI to make your script. All right, let's see. We're going to dive in here. Does the music still slap? All right, getting rid of this. Getting rid of this. What was the game? What was the game that was terrible? All right. Oh, God. I decided to sit down and listen to the DICE Game of the Year award-winning video game soundtracks to see how the music of these best games in a given year has held up. Of course, video games ebb and flow with time and graphical changes and technological growth, but music is always great and has been great since music first popped up into video games. So, how does the music hold up for this award-winning video games? Nope. So, how does the music hold up for these award-winning video games? Let's find out. Loop. Yeah. Let's go all the way back to 1997/1998 and listen to Damn, Damn from the GoldenEye from the GoldenEye 007 soundtrack. The 007 theme. doubt. I don't know, man. It doesn't get more 007 than that, does it? There's something about that is just so incredibly satisfying. I think the play on the different motifs that we hear within the actual films of 007, but also just like the nostalgia for GoldenEye, it's really hard to deny. Also, randomly really love the guitar wailing. What do you know? There's a little bit of that like drama and tension of like, oh man, is James Bond going to be able to make it out of here alive? Like, it's just quality. It's genuinely quality. And I don't even think that it is nostalgia. I think that genuinely does feel like it's a piece of music that really is motivating and a little bit scary because, you know, we're wandering around the dam. We're trying to find our way into the, if I recall correctly, into the control center, blah, 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 blah. And I think that really does serve just an amazing part of telling a story and moving us through the drama of like actually being able to play as James Bond. I think it's really cool. And yeah, that obviously holds up. I mean, of course it does. There's just something about that is just so nostalgic that also just works so well as like a companion piece to GoldenEye, you know? Next up is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which was 1998, and that won for 1998 and 1999. And yes, this is how I film a lot of my videos these days. You really respect that this is how I do it? Really? That's nice. I appreciate that. I think I want to listen to... Let's do Zelda's Lullaby. Now, in general, the thing that really strikes me about The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, believe it or not, I've actually never played this game. I have, but I haven't gotten past like a certain point at the very beginning after the Deku Tree. The reason why I find this piece so interesting and the soundtrack so interesting is that it essentially took everything we knew from the SNES and the NES and had to iterate on those things. And obviously Ocarina of Time has so much musical emphasis because of the fact that we're using the ocarina, and there's like diegetic music in there that's like a key component of the storytelling. And I think that it's just an incredible like shift from where it was before, where it's not to say that before the music of Zelda wasn't good. It's just that I feel like Ocarina of Time really placed it in a more mainstream kind of way. And I think, again, there's like also a degree of nostalgia here because a lot of us that are in our later 30s or in our early 30s, this was our childhood. Playing Zelda was like a key component of our existence. And also the game is like of a very high quality, which it makes sense that it won the DICE Game of the Year for 98-99. But yeah, let's check it out. You know, I picked this theme because I find this theme to be such a gentle one to listen to. I also love the way it starts. It's so simple. It's just kind of an undulating pattern. It kind of moves like a wave. The second half of the theme, especially with the doubling, really sends it home. I also love the harp, boom, 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 boom. It has just such a tenderness to it that I think is just delightful. And obviously, yes, of course it holds up. I mean, and that's the other cool thing about video game music is that it doesn't really matter whether it's 8-bit, 16-bit, MIDI, fully orchestral, EDM, whatever genre. Video game music has this way of really circumventing the technological advancements. And it is kind of funny that even now, like when we think about it, like orchestral music is music that's like very old, like hundreds of years old. And yet, to now be sort of using orchestral music so much in video games, it's kind of funny because even though we've made technological advances in like graphics and photorealism and stuff, we still ended up going back like, 250, 300 plus years to that style of music, which I find funny. But I really like Zelda's Lullaby. And even though I haven't played Ocarina of Time, there are several songs in this soundtrack that really make me feel a nostalgia for a different time period. Musically itself, like I said, it's also just like a really divine, simple piece of music. Just a very simple harmony, a little bit of a arpeggiation in the harp. It really just sends you to like a warm, soft, happy place, and I feel like that really can't be denied. Okay, and then oops, what did I do? GoldenEye said hello. I don't know. I got rid of the link. Game of the year. Yeah, I mean, I can't tell if this is the most productive way to film, like, with an audience, but it certainly is more fun in a way for me. $1999 to 2000 was The Sims. Well, that's good. I'm glad you enjoy it. Believe it or not, in 1999/2000, the winner was The Sims, of all things. And I honestly, I don't think I've heard the soundtrack of The Sims in like ever. I don't even know that did I even play The Sims? I can't remember. But anyway, let's check out Building Mode 1 from The Sims. That's gorgeous. Nice octaves in the left hand there. I mean, I think that this track perfectly describes the idea of like when you're building something and just using your brain, trying to figure out how to build it, like set up a construction, set up a foundation, deciding where to build your house, how many rooms to have, so on and so forth. Like there's a quality in that of it's interesting because in the right hand there's a bit of meandering, but there's the piano, especially where it is in the register, it's such a improvisational kind of like, let's figure it out as we go kind of sound that I think really actually elevates the experience of building and creating something. On top of that, what I find really interesting is that the left hand and the right hand really flow beautifully within each other. They all kind of coalesce and they kind of merge and re-merge separately quite frequently throughout even just a few minutes of that piece. And it's amazing. I mean, there's no denying that all of these soundtracks are going to be good, because I think part of the reason why these games won Game of the Year is also in part due to their soundtracks. And I mean, I had not heard the Sims soundtrack in if ever in a very long time, and I find that to be incredibly delightful and like a perfect work sound, getting something done, accomplishing something, having a friend along the way to help you out with figuring out the architectural structure of your building. It's hard to deny how charming that piece is. It's got like a modern smooth jazz kind of it's like modern pop piano music that you would you put on to just try to relax. It's great. In 2002, not to be in 2000 as well. In 2000, in 2000, it was Diablo 2, a stark contrast from The Sims. I've actually never heard anything from Diablo 2. Is Tristram from Diablo 2? Oh. Rogue encampment. Oh, it's from every Diablo? Oh. These are the DICE awards, yeah. Well, let's do something unique to Diablo 2. Seeing what's most Rogue encampment. Yeah, why not? Let's check out Rogue encampment. Let's check out Rogue encampment from Diablo 2. I love the sense of danger right away with the lower notes there and the cello. Whoa. I like the subtle electric guitar in the background too. Oh, damn. The sliding back and forth is so unnerving. Oh, the dissonant chord there. So much danger in the lower brass too, in the lower strings down there. Just ascending. Yo. Wow. I mean, the thing about Diablo is how much the vibe just fits the mood really well, especially this older school Diablo 2. There is so much like brutality in this world. It's dangerous. It's very, very uncomfortable. There's a real sense of fear in that sound quite a bit. Also, I find interesting that the encampment, it's interesting. The guitar, mandolin / whatever instrument it is really lends itself to the little bit of safety, but it's interesting because around that safety is all of the danger of the Hellspawn and the, Diablo itself. Like everything around it is danger and fear and nervousness and worry and really like problematic and scary. But within that is peace. Now it's a sort of temporary peace because there's not a lot of protection in this space. Something can easily come in and get you. There's a lot of danger laden with throughout it, but yet there is that moment of respite, and that's the sound that really I think comes through in that. And it's a very powerful and imposing sound that is both pleasant to listen to, motivating, and obviously extremely uncomfortable. I mean, it's wow. I'm actually shocked by that piece. Really, really gorgeous. And that was and Diablo 2 was the 2000 DICE Game Award winner of the year. Let's check out Halo 2001. No surprise there. Halo Combat Evolved. Halo obviously changed the game for first-person shooters in a big way. A deeply, deeply important piece of video game music and video game history at this point. Obviously, we have to check out the Halo theme song. And the thing is, we have all heard that if you're watching this, you're probably a person who enjoys video games and knows Halo as one of the video game anthems, right? It symbolizes video game music history. But one of the most impressive things to me about Halo itself is the fact that it absolutely has expanded way beyond the scope of just gaming fans and gamers. It's really an institution. Hearing the Halo theme, monastery monks, young girls singing it in stairwells and choirs and shit. I mean, everybody knows the Halo theme song. It's it's incredible. On top of that, it's really, I think, like the soundtrack of Halo itself is really, really well done, and I think for the time as well, the cinematic storytelling was really, I think, perpetuated and improved upon thanks to this soundtrack, and so it's no surprise that it won Game of the Year all those years ago. All right, let's check out. Actually, after Halo's win with the DICE Awards in 2001, the subsequent 3 years went to first-person shooters. Coincidence? Who knows? But next up is 2002, and that's Battlefield 1942, one of my personal favorite main themes of any game ever made. 1942. Let's dive in. I love this part where it goes up like that, man. Da, 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 da. And then it goes back down. And then there's the drama and tension, right? But we never lose the sense of like movement and the like sort of martial like snare drum in there. The snare drum of battle. And it's just repeating notes over and over, up and down. And then we get right back into it. Yeah. And, you know, Battlefield with 1942 obviously established itself as one of the kings of the first-person shooter multiplayer experience. I mean, these games still, in my memory, hold out as some of the absolute best games I've ever played. I was obsessed with Battlefield 1942 when it came out on my little potato computer, could barely function, and yet I was always in there playing Battlefield. It's truly just one of my all-time favorite games, especially the World War II ones. In recent years, I've sort of fallen off of the Battlefield bandwagon, and I think a lot of people have. But, you know, I'm always cautiously optimistic for the next opportunity to hop into Battlefield. And Battlefield 1 still remains probably one of my top 10 video games of all time. Yeah, it's been an incredible journey with Battlefield, and it's cool to see that in 2002, it had won the DICE Game of the Year award. So in 2003, naturally, that award goes to Call of Duty. Now, I don't remember very much about the original Call of Duties. Frankly, the Call of Duty franchise has morphed itself into a million different ways. and say what you want about it. But let's check out the Call of Duty OG main theme. I'm surprised at how emotional this is. There's the tension. Always in the middle of both of this and the Battlefield main theme, there's like some tension in there. Ooh, nice sharp strings there. That's the horror elements of that for sure. It's like spinning airplanes and balls of fire and really quality build up here. The mixture of the heroicism and the danger now integrating together. Wow. Oh, there it is again. The tension in the strings. It's a really interesting journey to go on with this particular piece. The way we started with that very gentle quality in the strings. Actually, I felt that the beginning of this was shockingly gentle for a Call of Duty video game. But I think like there's something about this old school Call of Duty that just holds up in the memory. And I think it plays still really well, even in 2025. Like the journey that characters go on in these games, the story experiences of these like sort of scenarios that I think, if as far as I recall, are accurate and real, are deeply moving and terrifying to experience, even in our, in front of our PCs, in front of our computers. And this kind of Call of Duty is something I really miss, to be honest with you. I'm not too curmudgeon-y about like the future of video games and like where things are going and where things have gone. Like I'm kind of happy with video games as they are right now. I think we've been in kind of an extended golden age for a long period of time. But if I could go back and be like, hey, keep doing this, I would definitely lean on the historical elements of Call of Duty, and I do miss this sort of sound. This obviously veers towards movie music, and while I don't think it's memorable per se, it's certainly a very high quality musical production. And I do think that the music of Call of Duty has remained pretty good, and especially when you think of like zombies and all that other stuff. But this OG like orchestral sound is really special. Let's check out after that, of course, in 2004 was the behemoth Half-Life 2. And Half-Life 2 actually recently played, and it absolutely deserves a place in the Game of the Year category, and for good reason. And arguably, it still is one of the best games of all time, and for good reason. Half-Life 2 OST. Yeah. Let's check out the ever famous hazardous environments. it is kind of like shockingly subtle, but the strong like guitar strum right there is so cool. Naturally, it picks up. Constant repetitive propulsion there. Yeah, I mean, amazingly, of course, those of us that are terminally online who spend a lot of time on our PCs definitely know that that theme also is synonymous with Valve, and I think it's interesting how as the theme progresses, it becomes more and more distorted, more and more alien, more and more. There's a deformity in that sound. There's a real tension in that sound as well. I mean, Half-Life 2 is really just such a phenomenal game. And honestly, like if you were to present it to somebody now who's a non-gamer, I actually think that somehow they would be like, oh, I get it. I think that the physics engine in that game is just absurd. And it's just such a high quality game with high quality production value. It makes sense why it would be on a Game of the Year list without a shadow of a doubt. And musically, I think while the music is not necessarily prevalent in the game, I definitely think that the music has also become sort of an iconic PC gaming entity, not dissimilarly to Halo. Maybe not every track, but certainly the main theme as well. Okay. All right. So we're cruising. What time is it? 12:24? Yeah, I should be able to finish in a half hour. Is there a track from God of War 2005 you like? Chat. I actually don't know it, so I don't know the soundtrack for God of War. Oh. Hey, Graman. Hey, serious? I didn't realize. Sorry, my bad. Didn't see you guys. Anybody? God of War 1 OST? The Vengeful Spartan? Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Of course, only one game could break the FPS consistency of the previous several years, and that is 2005 with God of War by Santa Monica Studio. Of course, action-adventure game, our boy Kratos, an icon in the PlayStation era. Let's listen to The Vengeful Spartan, which is the main menu theme. Damn. Ba-da-da. You know, it's funny because in truth, I mean, Kratos is such a rage-filled god and demigod or whatever Kratos is. To be honest with you, I've actually not played these games, so I need to remedy that ASAP because I know that these are like iconic games. Admittedly, that entire piece is full of rage, right? Pretty much predominantly the main emotional idea of those pieces is anger. And you hear that, and it makes sense for the character based on my understanding, due to the brass. There's a very heavy brass in there, and also the male choir really also allows for that feeling of hateful vengeance, of seeking out and having been wronged and deciding to step up and say, you know what, no, I'm not going to be wronged anymore. And really showcasing that this theme is about getting what's coming to them and really locking in, and it's a very fascinatingly powerful theme. Although I would say fairly simple in its motivic ideas. There's only about 2 different kinds of phases or structures in that, and yet we still get the sense of anger and violence and frustration and agitation that we end up seeing with Kratos, based on my understanding. So yeah, I mean, obviously the God of War series is it makes sense why this is on this list as well. 2006 brought us Gears of War. This is a game I've never played. I don't know anything about Gears of War, to be honest with you. I don't even know what the music sounds like. I didn't even know it really had any music. Let's check it out. Gears of War OST. I can't believe I don't know anything about Gears. So we get militaristic snare drum in there. Wow. The clanging in the back is cool. Oh, nice shift. Love that trombone just damn, that smacks. You know, what's amazing about that piece is that I really feel the size of the soldiers. I mean, obviously I know that the soldiers are wearing the big armor and they've got the like chainsaw swords, and I mean, I've seen all that stuff, of course. But what I find really interesting about that piece is that it drives home the idea of this being a military world. Obviously there's tons of danger. Also, the brass, when the snare drum comes in, when the drum set comes in, that actually really caught me off guard, because the drum set is really a modern sound, realistically. Like there's a sense of a confidence in that sound right off the bat. There's a sense of cockiness. There's a sense of challenge, of like being able to face adversity with a smile. Like, yeah, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like that's what I think of when I think of Gears of War. I also think of power, and I also think of destruction, and really mass destruction at that. What was something that was really cool was really when we pulled all the way back, and then suddenly we get those trombones really emphasizing That's obviously like bullet fire, danger. I mean, what an incredible like theme. And on top of that, I think it really sends home the idea of like being an unstoppable force. Really, really, really cool. Yeah. 2007 brought us Call of Duty 4, the second time that Call of Duty would win a DICE award. 2007, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Really, Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 stand as two of the great Call of Duties. The first time I ever played a Call of Duty was actually Call of Duty World War II because it reminded me of a Day of Defeat. It reminded me of Day of Defeat, which is a source, which is a Counter-Strike mod that was all based around World War II. I'm a big history guy. I was almost a history teacher. So Call of Duty World War II is really where I sunk into the Call of Duty landscape. But Call of Duty Modern Warfare is one of the greats, and both Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 have such phenomenal stories. Let's check out the main theme for Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I mean, instantly so different from the OG. Only 4 years prior. I love the sense of espionage in that sound. Good, beautiful, long bowed strings there. A little bit of... Wow. There's the tension and the dissonance. Yeah. Very different energy from the first Call of Duty. I mean, fascinatingly, the thing that's really interesting about that is that it actually feels more like we're hidden in the shadows with this particular theme. It's very, very dialed in, very, very pulled back. It's not in our face. It's not bombastic. It's not like full frontal. It's not expressing the danger at hand quite like the original Call of Duty theme eventually does near the middle of it. What this does actually is has this constant sort of real languid, long bowing that makes us feel like we're hiding in the bushes, waiting for, a duplicity to happen, watching out for a mole, watching out for, I distinctly remember how many sneaking missions there are in both Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, and I feel like that kind of fits. There's really there's things happening in the game that are out of our scope and way more complicated than we even realize, and so it's interesting how the music sort of handles that as well. It's cool. In 2008, Little Big Planet won Game of the Year at the DICE Awards, and to be honest, I don't think I've ever heard a single track from Little Big Planet. In fact, I'm not even really sure about what kind of music is in Little Big Planet, but let's see if we can find out, shall we? Oh yeah, of course I know, yeah. And in truth, I mean, I think the real thing about Little Big Planet there is just how bright and warm and it was just like a different game that had come out, and we hadn't really seen something quite like Little Big Planet before, and there was such a warmth in that, and we hear that in the sound of the soundtrack as well. There's a playfulness, there's a calm energy, and there are moments, of course, of intensity, but overall the game just wanted you to play it and play it with a smile. There's a reason why for a long time my PlayStation username ID featured a image featured a Little Big Planet as the Italian flag. I forget the mascot's name, but Sackboy. I had a Sackboy that was just the Italian flag as my user ID profile picture for pretty much I think like 10 years, and for good reason. Sackboy was really charming and fun, and this kind of platformer we still get it, but this was really special. And also really inventive for the time, and it's not surprising why it won Game of the Year. I've said that about pretty much every track, but every game that's come out. But seriously, I mean, Little Big Planet especially is very surprising. Having it be recognized for its, especially when it's sandwiched by Gears of War, Call of Duty 4, Uncharted 2, Mass Effect, God of War, to just have Little Big Planet in the middle of that is kind of, I don't know, telling, isn't it? In 2009, we are brought Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. This is the second of the Uncharted, and this is really when Naughty Dog kind of shifted into the cinematic storytelling world that I think we still live in. But the Uncharted games hold a special place in a lot of people's hearts. And the main theme is actually one of my favorite video game main themes. I mean, those terrific horns. It's such an invitation to adventure, too, It's just so iconic. It's just so iconic. And honestly, I'm not even that big of a fan of the Uncharted series. Like, I think it's good, but I didn't like how the weapon controlled and the weapon controls handled. And I like Nate Drake as a character, but I never really felt like that attached to the series very much. That said, I mean, it's one of those main themes that I think really does such a great job. Not dissimilarly to like an Indiana Jones, although I think the Indiana Jones theme is arguably better. I definitely feel like it does a great job of telling a story of who Nate Drake is and like what it means to have the spirit of adventure. And I think it's a huge part of what makes, the series so iconic. I think like most gamers know the Uncharted main theme, and I think there's a reason for that. It's just delightful, and it really does feel like I used to listen to it at the gym. It really motivates you to like, get up and take charge of your life, and I think it does it in a big way. After Uncharted in 2010 was Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 2 is an interesting one because while I think some of the soundtrack of Mass Effect 3 actually stands out more to me, there is of course the suicide mission in Mass Effect 2, which was such a pivotal, monstrous moment in the game where literally your choices had significant repercussions. It was a terrifying experience, and I remember being absolutely head over heels in love with Mass Effect 2. Let's check out the suicide mission. Oh. I love this build up. It's so cool. As the strings come in. I love these horns especially. It's so impressive. The way this timpani comes in, or the bass drums come in. The final added chorus there, but the emphasis and the strength, just shouting like the same note over again. You really feel the pressure of that decision on your shoulders. Kind of a do or die situation, isn't it? Upper horn like that, just sticking out like that. It feels so sharp. The final trumpet there, really kind of being like the clarion call that like things are not necessarily going to end out the way that you hope they will. There's really that final trumpet there at the end really gives way to like a wow, this could end really poorly. It's almost a the trumpet call of death potentially. It's a very powerful piece, and it really sends home the game itself in a lot of ways. Of course, in 2011, the ever-present, omnipresent, basically, I think this game might very well be God. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim has remained a prolonged game that is still in the lexicon some 14 years later. It's absolutely insane how many variations are. I'm waiting for my toilet to be able to play Skyrim. I'm really excited because I really like this soundtrack, and I just think it is timeless, and there's a good reason for it. Let's check out Sovngarde from Skyrim. It's an incredible choral piece, actually. Like this. Fantastic harmonies in here. No instrumentation besides a drum. It's such a strong, powerful piece of music. Terrific choir singing this as well. Such a warm sound, full of strength and virility in this. Nice harmonies. I mean, there's just no denying how powerful that piece is, and I think if you ask yourself if the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim is still relevant today, and you ask yourself why that is, you'd be hard pressed to say that it isn't partially because of how incredible the soundtrack is of that game. It's oozing personality. I think so many open world fantasy games are trying to be or trying to leave this sound, and the print that this is, the imprint that this game has left the gaming scene remains impossible to topple, and I really think it's impossible to topple, period. I don't think it will ever be denied. I mean, Skyrim's music is truly one of the great soundtracks of a generation and beyond. I mean, it's not even hyperbole. I really think that the Skyrim soundtrack has transcended, maybe not popular culture, but it certainly has transcended the veins of any gamer. It would be hard pressed to not know Skyrim's music. Yeah. In 2012, one of the most special games to ever be made came out and won the Game of the Year at the DICE Awards, and that's Journey. Journey is one of these games that is truly once in a lifetime. It transcends the medium. I think it's a game that is so poignant, so powerful, so deeply, deeply important. And this score by Austin Wintory is absolutely one of the best written scores of video game music history. And I think it also is just so important to the overall landscape of the game. Without the score of Journey, I don't think we have a Journey. It is really, really, really transcendent. And this is Apotheosis from Journey. Oh, wait, no, that's 7 minutes. Well, it doesn't matter. We're not playing the whole thing anyway. And the thing about Journey is that that motif that we just heard, that exists throughout the entire game. And that motif is the motif of us as people, as players on this journey from one point to the next, from point A to point Z. That melody follows us throughout the entire very, very short 3 to 4 hour game. And what it does actually is irrevocable, because it really changes us. It causes us to feel. It moves us to the point that we feel connected to that motif so much that by the end of it, it's almost a cathartic release to hear it and to hear the fully sung version of it. And if you've never played Journey, there's a reason why it's won Game of the Year. A small indie game was able to triumph over many, many others. And especially when you look at a list like this one, this game is truly, truly an incredibly cathartic and powerful experience. And I cannot urge you enough to play Journey if you never have before. After Journey, ironically, a major AAA game, The Last of Us, came out. We saw Naughty Dog leave behind Uncharted and Nathan Drake and move us into the world of Ellie and Joel. The Last of Us, truly one of the most terrific movie-ish games, and certainly one of my favorite horror/zombie games and zombie forms of media, probably. Say what you will about the second one, which I personally enjoyed, though I've only played it once because of how depressing it is. The Last of Us is one of my games that I've actually restarted the most. Let's check out the main theme by, of course, the incredible Gustavo Santaolalla. Having now also been immortalized as an HBO show opening, which is probably going to get me into trouble. No, it should be okay. I think my other video is okay. Hold on a sec, chat. Sorry. Chat, I can only play that for like a couple minutes, a couple seconds, just in case it gets copyright claimed, which is very unfortunate. I've never tested just playing a song for like 15, 20 seconds, but it sucks. But with The Last of Us and with God of War, unfortunately, Sony is less than kind. So I'm not going to play it very long, unfortunately. Usually I would do like half of a song, just because sometimes these songs can get pretty long. But in the case of The Last of Us, I have to just keep it short. Yeah, I mean, The Last of Us obviously at this point has become absolutely a phenomenon outside of the gaming landscape, as you all know, with an HBO show, which was pretty good, and in fact very good. We really enjoyed it. It's incredible how this IP has really like stepped out of the video game scope. And while I think that games are going to continue to move into a cinematic storytelling element, I definitely think that this game was really one of the ones that really kind of pushed that boundary in a big way when it came out. It felt less game and more movie, while even something like Uncharted, which was Naughty Dog's previous IP, and simultaneous IP, felt still like kind of a game with movie elements. Last of Us really felt like a movie first, and that subsequently with Last of Us 2, that felt even more true. Yeah, it's definitely, there's a reason why it won an award as Game of the Year, and it's also been remastered like 800,000 times at this point. But yeah, an incredible piece. Sorry, let me rephrase. Yeah, an incredible piece that showcases the bleakness of this world, showcases how empty this space is, showcases maybe even a little bit of hope. But in general, it's incredible how the guitar can produce such a bleak sound. Classical guitar is one of the warmest and most interesting pieces to listen to in a classical setting, and to hear it in this style. And Santaolalla does this a lot. I've listened to Camino, which is one of his solo albums, and it's similar. There's a melancholy in the sound that really leaves a haunting impression, and leaves you feeling like, like you're on your knees, totally broken. It's incredible how an instrument can produce all sorts of varieties of sounds, but especially in that particular case, The Last of Us main theme is very, very bleak, and I think it's terrific for that reason. In 2014, Dragon Age Inquisition came out and won Game of the Year. With all the recent developments over Dragon Age and the layoffs at BioWare, it's a real sad time, I think, for a lot of folks that are fans of BioWare games. But Dragon Age Inquisition was definitely my first foray in the Dragon Age world, and I enjoyed it quite a bit, although I don't think I actually ended up finishing it just because of how long it was. Let's check out the Dragon Age Inquisition main theme. You know what I didn't think about, chat, is how long this fucking video is going to be. Also, filming this is a marathon. This is like 30 tracks. I love the sweeping orchestra here and the sweeping strings with the chorus mixing in together. It's just so incredibly fantasy. Incredible upper register with the sopranos while the brass hangs down low on the lower end of things. And then we kick in with the percussion. Yeah, it's a great piece, isn't it? Really kicking into action here. You feel the size of this world, don't you? The conflict at hand, the responsibility. Yeah, it's a seismic piece of music there. It really makes you feel like you're in the middle of this battlefield, and you know, you're the hero of the story. You're trying to protect this world, and I love the chorus especially, but the fantastic brass underneath really sends home the idea of being a messenger, a protector of the people, and so on and so forth. And really, Inquisition was a fascinating world to explore. So much music in this game, and so many interesting and diverse characters. I really enjoyed the worlds, especially of Inquisition, where you never quite knew what you were going to get the next world you were going to go to, and I felt like each world could easily be a 10-hour journey and experience. Sure, lots of fetch quests and stuff for the time, but really a standout gaming experience that I really enjoyed what I played, and I played like about 70 hours worth of it, and I really had a good time. And yeah, it's cool to see Dragon Age be on a best games of the year list. I will hydrate, thank you. In 2015 was the return of Fallout 4, which won Game of the Year in 2015. I love the Fallout 4 main theme by Inon Zur. Let's check it out. And the funny thing is that as the theme progresses, we do get into that sense of danger. But what I'm most intrigued by is the fact that when this theme starts, it's actually like what the piano represents to me is the dropping of the bombs. And then the stillness after that is, I find, incredibly interesting for a main theme. Bum, bum, bum. Like there's a sense of space in that, like almost like the remnants of that Fallout, not to be ironic, but it's like, where do we go? What happens? How does the world carry on with the wasteland? And it's not until later on that we get that sort of action of the danger of being out there and this natural buildup that's just incredibly satisfying, where we sort of are able to paint a picture of the world and of the landscape that we're left with after the nuclear fallout and after these bombs fall. And I find it incredibly subtle and gentle for a game that is all about the world after the nuclear bombs go off and destroy. And I think that the show also did a terrific job of highlighting a lot of the things that occur in the game, though I think that Fallout 4 has its problems, but I do think that it's like, again, much like Skyrim, it's just sort of irreplaceable, and it'll be interesting to see how Bethesda is able to turn these sort of icons in the gaming world, having won all these awards and so on and so forth, into future releases with Fallout 5 or Elder Scrolls 6. Like it's massive shoes. And Inon Zur, of course, the composer for Fallout 4 is incredible. And I thought that Inon Zur's work with Starfield was also incredibly satisfying as well, though maybe not as iconic as Fallout's. In 2016, Overwatch won Game of the Year at the DICE Awards. I gotta be honest with you, I can't remember a single motif from Overwatch, but let's find one. Let's check out the main theme from Overwatch. It's always the trombones leading the charge. It's interesting how a main theme like this ends up sounding like an overture, but really it felt like a procession of heroes, didn't it? It really feels like the Olympics, and you're seeing all the incredibly gifted and talented athletes kind of walking out and finding their way to the podium or what have you. And this is kind of what the Overwatch 2 This is what the Overwatch main theme really sounds like. It really feels like it's about it's about these characters, and there's actually like kind of a softness about it. It's very gentle in the way that it presents itself. Yes, there's some trombone accentation, but overall, like the really interesting part about this is the French horn and how the strings kind of guide this, and it sort of ascend us towards the heroics of these beloved heroes. I mean, Overwatch is a very special game, and I'm glad I got to play it when I did. Those memories from this time period when Overwatch was really at its peak are incredible. I just heard recently that they're bringing back loot boxes, which is fascinating. Whatever. Overwatch 2 has been an absolute kind of a mess. And I don't know if people still like it the way they did, but certainly Overwatch has a lot of really good memories for me. And I'm really, it's nice to revisit, and I'm glad it won Game of the Year. I don't know that a single other sort of hero-based shooter has won an award like this since. Yeah. Has it? I don't think it has. No. Not in this list, anyway. No. Nope. In 2017... The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild came out. Also another game that defied and changed gaming. And many iterations of games subsequently have tried to emulate the Breath of the Wild formula with varying degrees of success. One of the complaints I hear a lot about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is how sparse and ambient the soundtrack is. And certainly when you compare it to previous entries in the Zelda series, I could see why people would feel that way. But it's been interesting to sort of think about how Zelda Breath of the Wild really takes the common tropes musically and brings them to its version of that world musically. I think it's actually great that they're ambient, because I think the world is too big. If you had too much of a theme playing over and over and over and over and over, I think it would be very exhausting. Think about how often themes play in original Zelda games. Older Zelda games from the N64, the GameCube. It's constant. So the idea of having a main theme just playing it every single time that you're walking out in the world, whew. But one of the themes that I really love, first of all, I love the piano of this entire soundtrack. But one of the themes I really love about this, one of the themes I really love in this game is Rivali's theme. Let's listen to it. I love this like distant call and response thing. The piano answers the previous motif. Love those effervescent strings that feel like we're floating, and then this incredible motif. By the end of the piece, it feels like we're getting this beautiful little smile. It's a warm piece. It's an inviting piece. It's a piece about friendship. It's a piece about maturing and growing up and being steadfast in your choices and not letting anyone get in your way. It's so gentle and yet so... I heard it a couple months ago, and because I'd forgotten it from my playthrough, and it's just stayed with me for a really long time. It's just incredible. I listen to it as frequently as I can. It's delightful. In 2018, God of War made its return, shocking the gaming world. A new environment for Kratos, the Norse world, gods and monsters, and, well, Kratos. it was a real change of pace for this series, and there's a good reason why it's the 2018 Game of the Year winner for the DICE Awards. Of course, the main theme is one of the best that's actually, I think, existed in gaming, and let's check it out, Kratos' theme. No, I want to rephrase that. Let's check out God of War from God of War 2018. I'm only going to play the first like 30 seconds just because, again, Sony, not nice. I just think the masculinity on display, the power that's in that sound, I mean, it's as good or maybe even a little bit better than Sovngarde or Dovahkiin, like the Dragonborn. Like, there's just something about that is such a visceral thing. It just works so well for Kratos, and a Kratos that's lived through and experienced so much that Kratos has experienced. It's a very, very, very it's a piece that really, really sends home the idea that this is a older, grizzled, more powerful, controlled version of the Kratos that we've experienced in the previous God of War entries. I also find that the lower male voices there also really send home the idea that this is a Kratos that has changed, that is different, but still dangerous and still violent and still all powerful. And I think that lower male voice especially really sends home this idea. It's also really interesting to hear it kind of in a Norse setting and have it be like a different quality from what we would expect from that Kratos sound, especially if we were in like Sparta, if that makes sense. 2019 was kind of a surprise with Untitled Goose Game of all games. Really a change of pace for I don't think that a puzzle stealth game even features. The only other one was Little Big Planet, a puzzle platformer game. Let's check out some of the music from Untitled Goose Game because I actually have never heard it. Oh, they're Debussy preludes, but arranged by Dan Golding. Oh, that's cool. Ooh, Universal. Oh, God. No, YouTube is not gonna. Ooh, God. I'm going to have to, hold on, I'm going to have to add something at the beginning of it. Just know that throughout this video, due to various reasons like copyright claims or just know that during this video, due to copyright issues, I may not be able to feature every song, or I may not be able to play every song full out. It's really going to be kind of a wait and see what works when the video is getting checked on the back end by YouTube. So please bear that in mind as we listen to these soundtracks. All right. I love the space in this. Wow. That impressionistic, open chorded. Always feels like a painting. I mean, that's delightful. That's delightful. It's the Debussy sound is in there, and yet it's rearranged by Dan Golding here, and there's a real, I mean, it really showcases the gentle, funny, nefarious nature of the goose, and it's got a playfulness in it that really sends it home, especially with the cascading. And the fact that this also plays within the game, I'm pretty sure, is also very special. I think it's kind of an educational experience too, because how many people are listening to Debussy in their day-to-day lives? It's really unique in that sense. In 2020, we were graced with Hades. Hades has an incredible soundtrack, and one of the pieces that really stands out to me is the amazing piece. It's what's it called? Orpheus. The Lament of Orpheus. What I find most amazing about the Lament of Orpheus is that there's been so much musical literature all the way. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And for Hades to then feature Orpheus's lament in this game is so special, because we if you go all the way back to Gluck or Monteverdi, there was this, or Offenbach, those are the stories of, Orpheus in the underworld, and Orpheus being a part of the, the journey of going down into hell and trying to get Eurydice back. This thing has been around for just so many years, and to hear a modernization of that is really exciting. Lament of Orpheus is an amazing track. I mean, I cannot express to you how challenging it is to sing falsetto like that. Like, the average person cannot do that. And honestly, like, getting it that good for a recording is so incredibly difficult because of the way that uses the throat and the upper falsetto and the head voice. It's so challenging, and it's probably my favorite version of an Orpheus. Even I'm talking like the opera days as well. Like there's a famous Che farò senza Euridice, which is a Gluck piece, and that to me stands out as definitely one of the best that I've ever heard. Just the languidness, the sadness in it, the pain that Orpheus feels, the desperation that Orpheus feels, the seeking out of the way that the accompaniment and Orpheus's voice blend in that is so gut wrenching, I really think that the music of Hades is definitely one of the reasons why it won Game of the Year. I mean, the roguelike, Hades really flipped the script on the roguelike genre, and I think it kind of created the genre. I mean, I think there was another game before it that sort of created it or leaned into it, and then Hades really went in the opposite direction and said, let's give you a fleshed out story. So every time you die, there's still that, that sense of discovery and meeting characters and so on and so forth. It's really a genre defining game, I think. And an incredible one at that. 2021 brought us It Takes Two, actually, which is kind of surprising. I've never played It Takes Two, but I know it's really special. And I'm actually kind of curious to hear some of the soundtrack because I've never heard any of it. It Takes Two OST. Let's just do the main theme. The DICE Awards are today for 2024. Oh my God, oh shit. Let's listen to the It Takes Two credits theme. Wow. Wow. Terrific doubling. That is a meaningful song. Wow. I think the reason why that works so well is because of the real organic sounds in the instruments. Obviously, in the beginning, there's a little bit of synthesized quality, whether it's a theremin or something else. I can't be for sure, but there's a real warmth in that sound that pretty much pervades throughout. You add the vocals and the doubling, and that's just like a natural recipe for emotional conviction and emotional connection. I think especially there's a real quality of feeling like something is lost, and I loosely know the plot and putting things back together and conjoining and I think actually it's about a husband and wife who fight for their marriage, and I think like there's a daughter involved. I'm not quite sure, but that sound is really warm, and it really there's the sound of hope in that, isn't there? The sound of possibility, the sound of desire for improvement and for making things better. And I think it really takes the cake there in terms of how it delivers the message of beauty and possibility and opportunity for growth. And I'm really blown away by that piece, actually. Really gorgeous piece. And I bet you it complements the game unbelievably well. Now, of course, in 2022, the world was shaken and badly beaten by Elden Ring 2022. And I think Elden Ring is interesting because I think overall the ambient sound of Elden Ring is not necessarily life-changing or crazy. but the boss themes themselves are really, really profoundly good. I think when it comes to the FromSoft, discography, it's hard to say whether or not Elden Ring is the best musically, but certainly the boss themes in Elden Ring really made the game better. Let's check out the main theme. It's one of my favorites. That's not it. It's terrific. It lets you know immediately what kind of world you're stepping into. It lets you know that this is a world that has a rich, dark, complex, and difficult history. It lets you know that there's been a war. It lets you know that there's been brutality, and it lets you know that you're about to get your shit kicked. And it's really, really, really effective and a terrific theme. Now, whether or not it's better than from other FromSoft themes, it's debatable. But what I can say is that Elden Ring's music really, really, really helped sell this game, and I think really helped make it be the cultural phenomenon that it was. Much like many of the other games on this list, whether it's Skyrim, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, The Last of Us, God of War. This game really was in the mainstream, and the mainstream was affected by the music of this game in a very big way. Not dissimilarly to 2023's winner, Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3. That chant is so pronounced. Visceral even. Fearful. Terrifying. Pressing into the cello like that to produce that sound, the low men. And that's a credible way to set up the motif that exists pretty much throughout the rest of the game as well. It shows up at key moments. It's definitely a part of the creation theme for many hours of people playing it. But this is the first thing you hear right out the gate. And now you get the beauty of this world too. There it is again. There it is again. There it is again. I mean, it's an incredible thing. It's an incredible thing how wide-reaching Baldur's Gate 3 ended up being, and how sometimes video games of the year really reach a scope that no one can really predict, and how far that reach will transcend the gaming sphere and move out into the popular culture. Now, granted, that's not the reason why a game wins Game of the Year, but certainly the cultural phenomenon that some of these games end up being cannot be understated. It's crazy to think that this is... How many years is this? Sorry, guys. This is 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. No, wait, 98, 10. $26 years. It's hard to believe that the DICE Awards have been around for 26 years. And in 26 years, we have had these many games. Well, we've had 26 games win Game of the Year. The point is, it's incredible. I need to figure out this outro. Hold on one second. It's incredible how many games have rocked the world for the last 26 years since the DICE Awards have been around. And who knows what's to come in 2024, since those are happening literally today as the time of this filming, in 2025, 2026, 2027, and beyond. Video games are continuing to push the boundaries for what people are interested in and what people want to experience in the worlds that they inhabit. And the music will always be a vitally important part of that experience, and all of these tracks have made these games better, and it was an absolute pleasure to experience and explore the history of the last 26 years of the DICE Game Awards, but also just the music of these Game of the Year winners. Thanks a ton, and I'll see you later. That was an okay outro. All right, Chad, I gotta go practice piano before my lesson. I appreciate you hanging out. I know that was a long, almost 4 hours. Certainly fun for me. Hopefully it was fun for you. It's always a pleasure to film and chat about music, of course. And offer some personal perspectives on some of these titles. Hopefully you were productive at your own work. Thanks a ton for hanging out with me. And we'll see you soon. All right.